This is episode 022 with Hani Mourra.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and you're listening to Men of Abundance with Wally Carmichael. You must be prepared to ignite.
Welcome to Men of Abundance, the podcast for those looking to level up their lives by hanging out with some of the greatest leaders and established professionals in our community, living a life of integrity, honor, and the abundance mentality. Prepare to pay it forward with your host, former Army medic turned lifestyle entrepreneur, Wally Carmichael.
Aloha, Men of Abundance. Today is Wednesday, August 22nd, and we are going to be talking with Hani Mourra today. And if you listen to Monday's episode, you know I am extremely excited this week. Tomorrow, I am taking my family on a big jet plane, and we are flying all the way from Oahu, Hawaii to the Big Island, Hawaii. So we're not going that far, but I am very excited that we're taking my little guy on a plane. Because the first time he was on a plane, he was only 1 year old, and that was flying over here to Hawaii. He is now 7 years old, and he is crazy about airplanes. He does not even know we're going on a plane yet. We're just going to show up at the airport, and we're going to take off. Now, on top of flying over there, we have a lot of really cool activities planned for our trip to the Big Island. And if you follow me on Facebook, you will be able to follow some of our activities live. And if you're not following me on Facebook, you will be able to still see the videos that I post live on Facebook, and you'll be able to see them on my blog at menofabundance.com, because my Facebook videos automatically post directly to my blog. This is extremely exciting for me because it saves me so much time, but even more, it boosts my blog in the search engines. And by the way, that's the subject of this episode today, because today I'm having a conversation and I'm introducing you to Hani Mourra, who is the creator of Simple Social Press and Simple Podcast Press, which are two of the softwares that I use on my website for my podcast. It's amazing technology, and we are going to have that conversation here on this episode. So our guest today is Hani Mourra. Hani is a softwarepreneur, podcast movement speaker, and the creator of WordPress Plugins that automate the publishing of videos, podcasts, and live videos to your WordPress site. And on this episode today, we are going to have a conversation with Hani about why and how he got into this industry. And I think you're really going to enjoy the story. All right, Hani, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, Wally. Thanks for having me. My pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's I've been trying to get you on the show for a while and try to get you a slot in, and it just happened to work out because without you, quite frankly, I wouldn't hardly have a show the way I see it. You know, because there's a lot of software out there for podcasters, and there's a lot of software out there that podcasters are using that doesn't really work as well as what you have created for the podcast websites and with the other software that I'm using. And as far as I know, I'm using two pieces of software that you have personally created, and I want to talk with you about that, about how you got all that started and everything. But before we get into all that, what I would like to do is have you talk a little bit about yourself. I did give a brief bio before the show got started, but I want to learn a little bit more about you on a personal level, so let's do that. Let's get a little bit personal.
Sure. Yeah, I'm dad. That's what I'm proud of, dad and a husband, and my family is kind of always been my number one focus. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you see me post a lot of pictures about my family, because I'm a family guy, and grew up with family, cousins, brothers. Now we all have kids, so we're very, very grateful, very fortunate to have our family all together here in Canada, just outside of Toronto area. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have kids, to have cousins, brothers, and their kids all grow up together.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into that. I mean, as you said, you are grateful for a lot of stuff, and I like to start the show off with an attitude of gratitude. Let's get a little bit into that, and then let's talk a little bit about how you kind of got started to what you're doing now.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I'm very grateful. My attitude has always been, put your family first, and I'm very grateful for a supportive family. Like, my wife's very supportive of what I'm doing, and my kids. I'm grateful that I have amazing kids, but I'm also grateful that kids are taking interest in what I'm doing, which is really cool. Like, my oldest daughter, she's she sees me talk about podcasting, and she's like, "What is podcasting?" And so we spend like a couple hours recording some fake podcast sessions and introduce her to the idea of podcasting. And then the other day she's like, "I want to make a website. What's a website? What's WordPress?" So she's like, I love that feeling of teaching somebody something that I'm really passionate about.
And how old is she?
She's 7.
Wow, yeah, my son just turned 7 this last week, and and he's loving it. Every time I do a video, he always wants to come up and do his cameo and get in on it. But lately, I've always done a lot of video, but lately I've been doing a lot of podcasting, and he's kind of like, "Well, where's the video at?" So what happened there? So that's another reason why I'm so excited to have you on the show, because I'm getting back into video with Facebook Live, and your software. Simple, I always forget the name. Simple Social Press.
Yeah, Simple Social Press.
Great software and product that I'm using. So, how did you get into what you're doing now? How did that all get started?
Yeah, let's just kind of jump back to, I would say, 2009, just before my daughter was born. And I was a big video guy. I've always loved video growing up, creating videos, home videos, editing all the family videos. I just love video. I'm an engineer kind of by study, but I always loved video. Anyway, fast forward about a year, back to 2009, I said, you know what, I'm going to start a blog. People tell me that they like video. I like talking and teaching video. So I started a blog in 2009. I didn't know where I was going with it. I just knew I want to talk about video because that's what I love. So I made videos about how to make videos. And a couple of years went by, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know where I'm going with this, but I love the topic of video. But I know that, I want to start turning this into a business, from a hobby into a business. And the typical route is to create info products and teach people this. But I don't know, I wasn't excited about that. I knew that wasn't the right thing for me. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm a software guy, studied software. Let me create a software for video. And just when I said that out loud to myself, I was bang, like a light bulb moment went out. I didn't know what I was creating yet, but I knew that was what I wanted to do. Like, I needed to take that angle, and I was excited. And then a few weeks later, I'm like, okay, what am I building? Anyway, fast forward to say about 6 months or so, I finally narrowed down my idea, and which was the first product that I created, which was a WordPress plugin that takes all your YouTube videos and it puts them on your website automatically. And that came about from my own itch. Like, I was doing a lot of video blogging, and I said, I hate the step of going to YouTube, copying the embed code, making a post, adding it to the site, all that manual labor. It drove me nuts. I said, I hate doing this. Can I automate this? And that's how my first software was born.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, and I do like that particular software. I did use it, or I have access to a software like that, and it might even be yours, because I was subscribed to James Wedmore and one of his courses, and I honestly don't know who created the software, and I haven't used it yet, because I kind of changed my focus on how I was doing business. But when I took his course, one of his YouTube and video courses, it included some software that would automatically load my YouTube videos to my website, and I never have plugged it in. Yeah, I'll have to go back and check that, and it's probably yours.
It's probably mine. Yeah, I partnered up. I had a business partner at the time who was also business partners with James, so it was very possible that was something that he arranged as part of a deal.
Yeah.
But to me, it was just, I knew that I wanted to do software, automation software first, because I'm lazy in a sense. I don't like doing repetitive work. But also, all my softwares have a very common theme. It's, besides the automation piece, it's about growing your email list and growing your audience. And to me, that's very important. You want to have that connection. So all the softwares have that theme. And what I mean by that is that they have an opportunity for people to sign up to your email list. An opt-in box below the video, the Facebook video, or the podcast. So all the products have that common theme. I think it's very important for every business owner to start collecting email addresses and start having deeper conversations with their audience.
Yeah, that is extremely important, and I say this all the time, that list and the way that you connect with that list is, quite frankly, the blood of your business. I mean, it is the stream. It's everything that keeps a business going, gets it started, and keeps it going. and you have done that. And you said something that I resonate with, and I used to say all the time that I'm also lazy when it comes to things like that. But the difference between a business and owning a job is systems. Mm-hmm. And as I get into this podcasting world and start doing all of the things that have to be done for podcasting, and especially with the website and making it visually aesthetic and beautiful and a place that people want to hang out, that is extremely time consuming. I mean, hours and hours getting started, and even now it takes me a couple hours just to get one episode recorded, edited, and then put on there with the show notes and all the other bells and whistles and everything, and then marketing it and sending it out. It's very time consuming. So every system that I can afford and every system that I can use and apply with a limited learning curve, I'm jumping on it right away. And what you've done is certainly made that easier. So how did you end up getting hooked up with Mark and John Lee Dumas?
Yeah, that's a very interesting story. It's basically like a year later after my video plugin, the first one I released, my business partner, I was helping him launch his podcast. So I didn't know too much about podcasting, but I was helping him edit the videos, convert them to podcasts. And I learned about all the different, pieces that you got to do when you actually launch podcasts. It's a lot of work, a lot of steps. Then someone told me, one of his referrals, one of his friends said, you know what, take your video plugin, make it into a podcasting plugin. I'm like, hey, that's a great idea. So I created my second product, Simple Podcast Press. And one of my approaches was I was kind of new to the podcasting space. I wanted to get this in the hands of people who are big in the podcasting space and let them try it out, get their feedback, because I want to see if this is a product good for them. So I started a beta group, and I invited about 10 people into the beta group. And I invited, I've heard of John Lee Dumas. He's, one of the top podcasters and podcast teachers. And so I invited everybody. I didn't know anybody personally. I just invited people to the group, got to know them over Facebook. Long story short, one of his John Lee Dumas students ended up interviewing John around the same time as he was actually one of the beta testers of my plugin. And John saw the plugin on his site. He's like, oh, what is this? At the time it was new. There's no podcast player that looked like that had buttons and email opt-in box. He's like, whoa, this is cool. I want it. So my beta tester, a friend of mine, he introduced me to John, and we got to know each other pretty well. And so he was using my plugin for some time in the early days. And then when podcast websites rolled out, John and Mark were partners in that. And just, right away, Mark reached out to me because, your player is one of the best out there. Let's hook up. Let's get this integrated into our system. And that's what we did. It's about kind of a relationship. It's just one thing. One beta tester led to a connection with John, and John led to a connection with Mark, and Mark back to me. So it's just kind of, people that you get to know and to meet in the industry.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? And that's one thing I say quite a bit on the show as well, is your network is your net worth. And everybody, you just cannot, you wouldn't have been able to progress forward like that. I mean, amazing things happen to amazing people. But when you have such a strong network, and they're, it's like that, 9 degrees of separation type of thing. Mm-hmm. And one thing we say in the military is we're only one person away from knowing everybody in the Army. For instance, because we've been around for so long, and that's cool that the connections led you to that, and led us to, and then ultimately led me to an amazing product. Because I talk to other podcasters and I listen to other people, and most of them are doing pretty much everything manually. They have some sort of a podcast player on their website. Website doesn't look great. It's functional, but it doesn't look great, and they're talking about the steps they have to go through to add their podcast, their file to the podcast, and to Libsyn and all these other different services and so on and so forth. And it's all built right into the system that I use. And I honestly don't think I really know just how much time it's saving me, even though it does take me time to get everything up. Yeah, no, the podcast websites is a great product. It's a huge time saver. I mean, it's not for everybody, but if you want to be completely hands off and just going to go one place, what Mark and John created is amazing. Yeah, I
And I'm
definitely
kind
think
of,
so.
I'm fortunate to be part of that, but by having the podcast player in there. But really, the bulk of the work is Mark's team. They've done a great job with it.
Absolutely. So I know along the way, you're doing pretty well now, and I do love watching your Facebook posts with your kids and your family. Just amazing. It's definitely obvious that you're abundant in your family life for sure.
Oh
But
yeah.
I'm sure along the way you had a couple kick in the gut moments as you were getting all this started. I'd like to hear one of those biggest stories of your kick in the gut moment.
Yeah, the first one that comes to mind is when I was working my first software. Like this is me, my first, my job, the day job when I went to school. I managed software teams here at a company, but when I was doing my own stuff, I was very inexperienced. I was like, I've never done this on my own. Like, nervous, didn't know what to do. Anyway, so when I was building this software, I knew that I didn't have exact programming expertise. I can program, but I don't have the full expertise. So I wanted to get some help, right, to help me build the first WordPress plugin. And I went out to the common places where you go and put job postings and ask for help. And to shorten the story a bit, basically I spent almost, I think, $2,000 or $3,000 and had basically nothing to show for. So imagine me going through this thing for the first time in my life, excited about this idea. I'm getting it built. I've mapped it out on paper, and getting somebody to help me build it. And I'm spending my own money here, thousands of dollars, and I just excuse after excuse, and I was like, I got nothing after about a month, and I had to pull the plug. I lost the money. I was deflated. I was like, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought. And now what? Like, I just dropped all this money. I got nothing to show for it. Like, what? Should I just quit, forget about it, and not build the first product? Or obviously I didn't do that, because I did end up building it and getting proper help. But it hurt.
So what was you spending the money on? Where was it going?
It was a developer. I hired a developer to work with me who after explaining everything to him, he gave me full confidence that he can build what I've asked him to build, the pieces that I've asked him to build. And every week or two, it was just an excuse after excuse after excuse but he still was, I still paid him. Like, I paid him up front, and I paid him for every week. And it was a rookie mistake, right? I didn't break down the project into smaller tasks. I take the blame for it. It's not totally his fault. I didn't break the task into smaller tasks, and I might have overwhelmed him. Anyway, long story short, I learned a big lesson is not to when you're working with a team, you gotta be the project manager, and you gotta manage things gradually and not just dump the whole project onto somebody and expect them to kind of put your vision into bring it to life for you.
Yeah, in my mind, from where I'm sitting and listening to your story, you got screwed. But
yeah, I did.
But you didn't at the time anyway. I'm sure you felt the same way, but ultimately you took responsibility for it, and then you moved forward. What did you learn from that experience? And what made the difference the next time you went in to actually get your product developed?
Yeah, the first lesson was if in my case it's very specific. I was interviewing somebody. Make sure you really, really interview them well. But more importantly, it's about breaking down whatever it is, whatever project you're working on. Break it down into smaller chunks, and hand off piece by piece to your team and see if they can deliver, and kind of build that trust as you go, and then hand them more and more, as opposed to saying, all right, here's my vision, here's my product idea, dumping it all on them, and they may get overwhelmed, and maybe they don't they might get excited about the idea, but they can't deliver. If you give someone too much, they can't deliver what you want. So break it down and work with somebody you trust. And that's what I did. After I found my second person, I slowly I gave him piece by piece. We built that trust, and he's still working with me now on all the products. You
mentioned that you were working for somebody else, and then you decided to venture out on your own. What made that decision? Yeah, actually, I'm still in the transition process. So I'm still creating my softwares kind of on the side, and 1 day a week. So I kind of cut down to 4 days a week on my day job, which is in the same field in a sense. It's I'm a software manager, so I'm managing software
there's a lot of overlap, a lot of learning that happens that I can pass back and forth. But what I'm really excited about is the software I build for my own business. But more importantly, it's more for the content creators, the podcasters, the live broadcasting. Just that area really excites me. So I whenever I can, I spend as much time as I can getting the stuff built, and adding new features and supporting it. And it's a tough. I knew that whatever I did, like when I got my first plugin out, to build my first software, I knew I had to build software for myself, because I was really excited about at that time video, and I knew that I can create a killer product that will save people time, and I just had to do it. I almost feel guilty if I didn't do it. I know it sounds kind of funny, but I just knew deep inside that I had to get this product built and out. This idea was a great idea, and it's going to be a time saver for people. And once you get feedback that people like, you're making impact on people's lives, like not I'm not saving their lives, but I'm helping them in their business. I'm helping them automate things. It's a good feeling. And the money is okay, but you don't make a lot of money selling the WordPress software. But it's about just that feeling of that you're helping somebody, that they're getting results, and you're saving them time, and you're saving them headaches. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, and at the same time, what you're doing for me personally is you're allowing me to get done with my episodes and getting them posted and getting all this stuff, my content, out to my audience and the people I'm trying to reach, and at the same time allowing me to spend more time with my family and move on to do other things that I would rather be doing. As much as I enjoy doing what I'm doing, a lot of it is work. This is my favorite part, by the way, just talking to all you guys and learning from everybody and just associating, because you're a product of the top 5 people you spend most of your time with, and I spend my time with some amazing people on these interviews like yourself, and then I got to go do this work to get the content out, but I'm saving a lot of time in doing that thanks to you.
Yeah, right. No, that's what it's all about for me. It's just that saving people time, I guess, is what is what it's about. But it's also helping them, automate, but also helping them, grow their audience, build their email list. So, yeah, I feel good when I get feedback like that it's helping. But one thing I like to do is, like, I take pride. You and I have worked offline together. When there's a problem, I take it personally. Like, I say, you know what? I built this software, or I've helped. I don't necessarily code all the software, but I'm involved in the code. And when there's a problem, I take it personally. I'm like, you know what? Someone's struggling with my software. I really got to help them. So support is a very big thing for me. Ever since the first product, even till now, we're up to 4 products. And I even though sometimes it's it does take a lot of time, but for someone who's paid for something and they're not getting the results, or they're not getting, it's not working as advertised, I get hands on, because I want to make sure everyone gets the value out of it that they expect.
Yeah, and I have to say, I have truly, I've expressed this to you before, I've truly appreciated that one-on-one contact, because I know that there's a ticket system that I can go through on podcast websites, but this specific software, when I wasn't really having issues, I just had more questions about it until this last one, when we found a little glitch that I think will help in the long run with the emojis, which was really great. But I mean, seriously, I hit you up on Facebook Messenger, and you get back with me well within 24 hours, usually within like 12 hours. You're getting back with me, and I really appreciate that. And I know that there's a lot of other people that are demanding your time in reference to that, and I see you with your kids all the time. So let's get into that. Let's get into the simple social press. The reason why I decided to purchase that and integrate it into my website and into my podcasting is quite a few reasons, actually. One, because I do like doing video, and even Mark Zuckerberg says that Facebook, by the end of 2017, is going to be 70 to 80% video. And that's because that's where everything's going. If you look at the trends right now, I mean, Blab just shut down this week, but I think Blab shut down because we've got Facebook Live, and which doesn't do the same thing that Blab did, but and I just found that out today on one of our social networks. that Blab shut down, which I've never used. But my point is, with the Simple Social Press, one, it could quickly, just right away, as soon as I'm done, post directly to my blog, which I absolutely love. But then it takes it a step further, and it's a big step, which means it brings all of the comments from Facebook onto my blog, and then they can comment on the blog as well. And it goes back and forth, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, but and then on top, what that does for the website is it brings all of that search engine optimization juice, that SEO juice, along with it. And it has greatly enhanced the visitors on my site. And it's keeping people on my site longer because they're watching the video.
Yeah, you nailed the two big things. Yeah, it's the video, the fact that the video is embedded on your site. You don't have to do it yourself. So it's like having a virtual assistant log in, make a new post for you, add the video, but which is awesome because for like engagement time is longer. But the comments, that's huge. Like you imagine having a blog post that has 20, 30 comments, 50 comments instantly. Like I don't know how many blog posts you wrote that get 50 comments, and I don't write many blog posts that get 50.
Yeah, how about none? I don't think I've had a blog post, and I've blogged for quite a while. I don't think I've had a blog post that had more than 5 comments on it, to be honest with you. And I've got now, due to these videos, I've got posts that have 15 and more, many more comments on it. Yeah, it's awesome. Like you got a post with a video and comments. Like what else can you ask for? Without you don't even need to log into your WordPress site. That's at all, and it's
if
amazing.
You don't want to, yeah.
Other than changing some of the only other step is to change the image, which I don't.
Yeah.
I kind of like it raw. I like the way it is, and if it's just really a weird image, then I'll go in and change it. But for those of you out there, men of abundance, who have websites and who have ever either considered doing video or are currently doing video and messing with Facebook Live, absolutely go check out the Men of Abundance blog at menofabundance.com/blog, or just click on the blog tab and see those up there. And I'm going to be posting more as I go through, especially when I'm going on my vacation next week to the Big Island. We're going to be doing some amazing things, which I'm not revealing right now. I want to share that later with you guys through the Facebook Live and through Instagram. I'm also going to be doing Instagram Live, or the Instagram story, Insta story, I think.
Stories, yeah.
And I'm liking that because I already have an audience there, as opposed to on, what's the other one? Snapchat.
Yeah.
I just don't have an audience there. I like it, but I don't have an audience. I have an audience on Instagram. But definitely go check that out, and you're going to want to get a hold of, I'll have all of Hanny's information in the show notes for sure. So now we're going to move into the pay it forward round. You ready for that?
Yeah.
Awesome. So give Men of Abundance 1 to 3 actionable steps that they can take today, either in their personal life or even in their blogging or podcasting, or anything that maybe they can use any of your software with.
Yeah, my tips, for sure. Number 1 tip is just take action. You don't always have a clear path or where you're going or why you're doing something, but if it feels good, it feels the right thing at the right time, like it's a good time to do it, and you feel excited about it, take that first step. And whether it's writing a blog post, whether it's starting a new product or service, take that first step, because you never have all the answers before you start. So take the first step and you'll learn, and you can always pivot and adjust. So that's what I did with all my softwares, actually. I just took the first step. I didn't know what I was doing and kind of figured it out as we went along. And have passion. If you're passionate about something, you'll find the way to make it work. So definitely, if you're excited about something, it's definitely a good thing. Don't shake it off. Don't say, hey, I'm just excited about it, let me just sleep on it. Okay, fine, sleep on it. But if you're still excited, come back to point number 1, take action on it. Take the first step on it. And I guess those are my 2 top tips, is take action and be excited about what you're taking action about.
Absolutely wonderful. So what daily habits make the biggest impact in your life, Henny?
Oh, I wish I had more structured habits. I'll be honest, I'm a little kind of all over the place. But my habits I'm trying to focus on more is health-wise, like exercise. Try to hit the gym 3 days a week, just to keep your body in good shape. It also keeps your mind in good shape, and sleep. I know myself. I've pulled some late nights and I can't function. It takes me days and days to recover. But the nights I get my 7 to 8 hours of sleep, I'm cruising, I'm firing on all engines the next day. So sleep and exercise are two things I'm focusing on. And you're just overall happier when you do that. Like you're less stressed. Things don't bother you. So sleep and exercise. That's the two things I focus on.
Perfect. Most definitely. What book would you recommend to our abundant leaders and why?
I'm not a big reader, but I did listen to the audio version of Steve Jobs' biography, and I loved it. It was long, but I loved it. I don't know. I was very interested. I'm a big Apple fan, so it was very interesting to learn. But the one thing I really learned about that is Steve Jobs had paid attention to detail, and that's one thing I try to apply. The small things in your life or the small things in your business, they make a big difference. So don't overlook them. So, pay attention to the small details, the user experience, your customer experience, any kind of touch point you do with a customer or with your family, or the small things make a big difference. So don't ignore those.
They absolutely do, without a doubt. And I will look that up. What's the name of that exactly? Is it?
It's been a while. I think it's just called Steve Jobs Biography, or by Walter. I forget the last name. I can send you a link. I can look it up and send you the link after.
Yeah, do that. But you're absolutely correct. It's the small things that really matter the most.
They do, both personal and business.
Absolutely. And they're noticed, especially in business. It's those small things that I personally notice. Even when I go to a restaurant, one of the first things I do is go to the restroom. And it's because I used to work in that industry. And when I see a clean restroom, I pretty much know it's going to be a good experience. Just because the managers, the workers, everybody there takes pride in what they're doing, and you see it that's just me personally, because like I said, I worked in the industry for a while, and it makes a huge difference. So what does living a life of abundance mean to you?
To me, it means having balance, doing what you love, but spending time with the people that you love as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I'm always so interested in how people make money and how they get to where they end up doing what they're doing. And in some cases, they didn't plan on doing that. It just wasn't in their cards until they stepped out of their comfort zone and found something interesting that they enjoyed doing. And you've obviously found something that you enjoy doing.
Oh, I love it. I really do. And that's what keeps me going. It's tough. It's tough, especially, working a full-time job, 4 days a week, and you don't have a lot of time to dedicate, so you're very focused. And because I love it, I enjoy it. It's not every single aspect is fun, obviously. When there's a problem, it can get frustrating. But overall, I enjoy what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing, so it keeps me driven. And I know there's more to come. I just, you feel it deep inside. I'm not done yet. I'm just getting started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, and I'm positive about that. For one, because of who you are, but two, because the whole platform, everything's changing on a regular basis. So you're always going to be able to move forward and evolve with that, because you already have the skills and the knowledge to do that. And I can't wait to see what's to come after what you've already created. So leave us with a parting piece of guidance and any way that we can get in contact with you for anybody who wants to get a hold of any of your WordPress plugins.
Absolutely. I'm going to go back to taking action and taking the first step. I'm not blindly, but take the first step, even if you don't know exactly where you're going. That would be my advice. And if you want to connect with me, I have a website just at hanimourra.com. It's got my Facebook, email, blog, list of the products, kind of everything on one page. A simple site. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you on Facebook. Or Twitter. Those are kind of the two platforms I hang out. But if you go to hanimourra.com, and you can get all the links there.
I will have all of those links and all of your contact information at menofabundance.com/022. And for those of you who don't end up going there, hanimourra.com is HANIMOURRA.com. And definitely go over there and check out what he's got going on, because I'm using it. I'm going to continue using it. For those of you who aren't podcasting, probably not super exciting, but it's the behind the scenes stuff that's super exciting for those of us that are using that software. But the simple social press with the videos, absolutely very cool to see, and to see how that works. So thanks again, Hani. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Right.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you taking time away from your family and your business and everything else you have going on to share all this with Men of Abundance.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Have a good day, man.
Thank you.
All right, Men of Abundance. So as you can see, Hani took a passion of his. He found a need, and initially it was the need of his own, and then figured out other people may need the same thing. He created a product, basically out of thin air, and turned that into a business of his own while he still has a full-time job. I think that's pretty amazing, and to me that's extremely abundant, especially when you see a man who's spending so much time with his kids, even though he has a full-time job and managing such a software business like he is. So what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing in your community? What are you doing for your family? What kind of abundant activities are you doing throughout the day, throughout the week, or throughout the month? I would love to hear more about what you guys are doing. So feel free to connect with us on Facebook, and you can find the link directly in these show notes at menofabundance.com/022, or just about any of the other show notes at menofabundance.com in the podcast. Or you can just go straight to Facebook and search Men of Abundance Free Community. Click on the green button and I will give you access. Get involved in the conversation. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how you are living your life of abundance, or what you feel you need to live your life of abundance, and let's see if we can help you out. Now go out, spend some time with family, live your life of abundance, and don't forget to pay it forward.
That's all for today, Abundance Leaders. For more about our guests and the powerful information we shared with you today, be sure to sign up for our mailing list at menofabundance.com. We appreciate your time and look forward to hanging out with you on our next episode. So until then, be sure to pay it forward and live your life of abundance.